so much of love today is based in insecurity. And it then becomes, when it's based in insecurity, it's doomed to fail, because it's always going to be, you need to show me that I love you. You need to earn that love. You need to be good enough. And we might not acknowledge it that way, but if we're really, really honest, we're insecure about the fact that something's happened that's brought insecurity to us. And then we might be insecure about the fact that that love is going to leave. And in that, we ultimately drive it to where it ends. And I looked at that love that's, I would call, conditional. As long as we're getting along okay, as long as everything's good, I'll love you. But of late, I got hit with this unconditional love, and I didn't actually know if that was possible with a with a relationship with a person, because just for whatever reason, I've never seen that. I've seen it with God. I can get into the God part of things and that, but today I want to stick to naturally, and I remember thinking about that with God and saying, God, is it possible to have such a love with a person? And it's kind of funny, I got caught up, and I won't get into all the situation of that, but I realized you can merge with with the spirit of somebody. And when you merge with the spirit of that person, it becomes unconditional. And I started to realize that love covers all. And I hit this song recently, I love you, hate you, but can't live without you. And I've realized that when love really bites you, that becomes true. You are just so taken by the beauty of somebody's spirit that anything becomes possible. And I think in the ecosystem, it's a big word, I don't know, in that covering of love, anything's possible, and you do anything. But I think what I found with some of the folks in my life, around my life, even years ago when this all blew up, they came to me and said, if you do what we say, we'll love you. And I actually said to my son last night, I said, look, in that statement, in saying, if you do what we say, I'll love you, they basically doomed me to never be able to do well, not that I don't do what they say, because then that's no better or worse, but it's terrible. But to say I have to be me, I have to be true to the love that's in me. I mean, I have to try to express that in the way that's right. But if you're going to demand that I do it the way that you want it to be done, that's not love. That's feeding into your insecurity, feeding into your fear, feeding into something that's limited and has a shelf life. Love that is unconditional will break you. You fight it, it will break you. It will turn you into a wreck, because you will never get away from it. Never. And the more you fight it, the worse you'll become. Love is so frightening, because it's complete and utter vulnerability. It's going to somebody and saying, I don't know that I can trust you. I don't know that you won't betray me, because life's betrayed me. But I've just got to let go. I've got to trust you. I've got to have a go, because I don't have a choice. And I mean, we always have a choice, but if I choose to fight that, I'm miserable. So you say, take my life, whatever you do with it, whatever you choose to do with it, it's in your hands. And if you never pick it up, then you never pick it up. But I have no choice but to lay it down. To me, that is actually God's love. That's God trying to show us what he is through his love. We get mad at God. God, you haven't done for me. Why is this happening to me? Why? And it's all self-pity. Me. And God's saying, perfect love casts out all fear. He's saying, just let go. And I found with my relationship with Jesus, with God, that when I hit the bottom, and I got a lot of things I didn't deserve, I felt. And I became the victim. I was, poor me, I don't deserve this. I've spent my life putting marriages together, and now mine's fallen apart, and I'm so good that shouldn't have happened to me. And it was actually, I was in court fighting to try to see my then 6-year-old daughter. And my lawyer, who's been in 25 years in law and run her own firm and all this sort of thing, and it was one of those life's pivotal moments. She turned to me in the car and looked at me, and she raised her voice and yelled at me, and I'm like, whoa. And she's like, stop it, Scott, and I'm like, what? And I'd been going through some pretty traumatic stuff. And she said, Scott, I want you to understand something. You are a victim. And what's happening to you is truly wrong, and it should not be happening to you. And she said, in all my experiences of 25 years, I've never seen a situation like yours that's as insidious. And she said, so you could say I deserve to be a victim. She said, but if you take that on, it's death to you. You will be dead while you're walking. She said, I have clients that have been separated for over 10 years and they are living like it happened yesterday. She said, you will never get free. She said, if you don't stop living as a victim, wake up to yourself and realize that, yes, you're a victim, but you can be a victor, then you're dead in the water. And something just whack hit me. And I was like, she's done all right. And that victim thinking is insidious. It's vile. It just gets into us and it steals our life. The whole world is there for that. I mean, who greater example than Jesus? He was a victim completely, took my sin, took my wrongdoing, laid on a cross and died for me when I had no care for that. I had no understanding of what he did. And I've found that that's come up in me with this people that I've just lay my life down. And you look and say, well, you want something from them. No, of course, I'd love to be with some of these people and have them around my life in intimacy of fellowship, of heart, really. But people then all immediately default to the love of the world. You want something from me. He wants me. He wants to do this to me. And I'm going, no, you know what? It's not why I'm here. I love your spirit. You are just beautiful in your heart. There's something inside of you buried so deep, buried insecurities and fears that you're too scared to let it out. And I'm saying, I'm a safe place. Let it out. I would never betray that on purpose. And as that love is there, it's scary because you as a man, you're laying your life down for somebody and they don't care maybe, but they really do. But that's me with God. Where God's laid his life down, he sent his son to die for me. I didn't care. I didn't even think I was lost. I thought I knew what love was. I thought I was doing fine until I got to the bottom in life. And life had told me, the people in my life had told me, you're no good, you're trash, you don't do what we say. If you do what we say, you changed how you did things, just talk a little better, you do this, you do that, we'd love you. And I hit the bottom. I went to this, what I could see was a line, and I knew if I went over that line, God help me. I had no clue what was on the other side, but I knew I wasn't coming back. When I got to that line, something held me quietly. It just held me. I didn't know what it was. I knew it was love, but I didn't feel deserving of it. I didn't understand why it was there. There were no words attached to it. It was just held me. And I began to understand it was the love of God. This God that loved me, that I'd been fighting his love by trying to control it. I'd been fighting his love by trying to dictate what that should look like. I'd been fighting his love by trying to say, if you loved me, you would. And God was saying, I love you so much, I can't. And you realize that depth of love where he almost says to me, I can't do those things for you, or you're going to think love is conditional. You're going to think love is earned. And he said, it's not. And I look at the wrong things in my life, like sin that would have been there and is there. And I say, God, and it's like God said, Scott, sin exists so I can show you love. You're not good enough for me to love. There's nothing you can do that's good enough. There's nothing that you can do that deserves my love. Love is undeserved. It is unconditional. And he says, and you know what? When you're at your worst, I loved you. When you're at your best, I loved you. When you were totally undeserving of it, I loved you. And beyond that, he said, I delight in you. And I realized on my journey that through my brokenness, where almost everybody, except one hero son, everybody that almost I thought had turned their back on me and had turned their back on me, from the ground, God lifted me. I'll take you. He says, I'll take you right like that. I love you. And I found that same love comes through to people. And I found some people around my life. There's one right now, fighting love. And as I watch it, my heart breaks. So I'm just saying, you're feeding insecurity. You're feeding what love has been to you. You want to control it because of the fear of what you could lose, but as you're trying to hold that love, it's slipping through your fingers, and you're feeling like you're losing it, but you're not. It's here, and it'll never change. It watches from afar and says, I can't be there. I have to love you from here. And I'll do what I can, when I can, how I can. And you may never know that it's me doing it, because the heart of love is there. What do you want in return for that? Nothing. Nothing. You're so beautiful. You're so precious. Even if nothing ever came back, I love you. If something came back, then we dance the dance together. And what a beautiful thing that'll be. No limits of life, but it's going to come down to trust, isn't it? It's going to come down to abandonment. With God, I had to abandon Scott. I had to say, God, I don't have the strength to fight anymore. I don't have the strength to dictate what this is going to look like anymore. Take me. If you could take this broken piece of nothing, take it. If you could take this broken man that nobody wants, take him. And as he took me, I just felt strength. Whenever I rested in his love, I felt strength to go on. Rest in love. Natural love. If that natural love is there, when you have natural love for somebody, I was broken. And in my brokenness, I just felt a spiritual connection with a person. And with that spiritual connection, it just ignited me to be able to live where I hadn't had the strength to live, and it just opened up things. And I wish I could share on here some of the beauty of what opened up and is continuing to open up. It just astounds me. And I look, and they don't even know. And I look and go, wow, imagine two people in that love. Imagine two that would say, like God and me, but two people that would say, I trust you. Maybe you'll break me. Maybe you'll say, don't ever come near me. Maybe you'll run from me. You'll love me, hate me, like the song goes. But I can't live without you. That's when you know you've been touched by love. Take the journey of love, because friend, if you fight love, if you fight it, it'll break you. It'll break you. And once you've tasted it, you'll never get away from it. And you've tasted it. You've tasted it, and you've spent a lifetime trying to control it and make sure it never leaves. But while you're trying to make sure it never leaves, you push it and shove it to try to get it away from you. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's just sitting there going, I'm waiting. I'm here. And I love you. What is that supposed to look like? That's the beauty of life, is discovering what unconditional, true love can look like. I've been touched by it, divinely and naturally. Naturally, it's messed me up. Divinely, it's messed me up. But God's love has covered all. Love is a beautiful thing. Don't fight it. Surrender to it. Surrender to it. Yeah, there's no answers in it that you can control. It's just saying, I am so scared that I'm going to get betrayed. I am so scared that something could happen, but when I see you, I feel safe. When I see you, I feel safe. But there's no reason, no logic for that. I just know you're a safe place. Doesn't matter what your words have said. You're on the run because you know I'm a safe place. And I think that's love to me. A safe place. And when we're in that safe place, when it's two people in a safe place, there are no limits. Anything is possible. Because I would bring out the best in you, and you'll bring out the best in me, because I feel safe. And when you feel safe, it brings out the best. That's love. That's where what love is to me and where love is going. And that's my relationship with Jesus. And I think to say that, I would suggest the beginning journey of love is to get with God and say, God, I don't understand you. I don't even know if you're real. I sense you. I've felt love. I've been touched by love. Take me, God. Take this mess. If you can take this mess of a person, take it. Surrender to him and let love have its way. Because it'll kill you if you don't. It'll break you. Let love have its way. I love you. Don't know why, but I do.